channel. And also, you know, leave a comment of your sign. You can use the emoji or the word, whatever it is. Just let me know you stopped by. I appreciate you showing love to the channel in whatever way you do. But yes, if you want to see more readings, just show some love as well. So this deck is the Gateway of Light. Activation, activation, activation. And if somehow you don't know, the reading today will be for Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Pisces, Pisces. So I would get one of these cards. I have one of these cards for you, as well as one from the tarot deck. Now, at the bottom of the tarot deck, we have the World card. Also, let me know if you like the lighting. I try to do it a little bit more soft. I have tried to have like a softer light, just in case you know you're watching this at night to go to sleep too. So hopefully the softness is better. Kind of yellow as well, but yeah. And you know, just getting a few of these cards. You know, the World card, I always look at and symbolizes as, you know, the world is in your hand. You know, that completion, that fulfillment, that fulfillment, and that wholeness, and actually integrating all of the things that you know, and you know, bringing yourself to a whole place, a meditative place, you know. So, without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into the Capricorn, Capricorn, Capricorn. So, Capricorn, your card for the day. Let's get it. So, Capricorn, you have the. Trying to grab it. Akashic Records. It says Akashic Records, clearing old stories, releasing past lives, and freedom. So, you know, what are you releasing yourself from? It doesn't just have to be past life. It could be, you know, this life, but an old past version of yourself that you're no longer engaging with. So I look at this book and I like the symbolism of the stories. It's like the stories that we tell ourselves, the stories that we keep alive and we make alive every time we remember them, or, you know, just engage with that which we don't want anymore, right? So Capricorn, that is your information here of just, you know, clearing and releasing the old stories that you no longer wish to engage with. Don't bring up things that you don't wish to have around you anymore, right? Akasha is a Sanskrit word that means ether or sky based, and as explained above, the Akashic records are a compendium of universal events, experiences, and lifetimes held in the spiritual realms. So the founder of like Theosophy described them as indestructible tablets of astral light. And you know, it is said that we can visit the astral Akashic records in like the astral realms, the dreams, visions, and meditations that we have. And when we are transported or guided to connect with them, we are being given the opportunity to take inventory of our life and all of the events that have taken place in it. So it's important to gain information on, you know, past lifetimes, and just really just understanding what you no longer wish to do. Like I said, the past lifetime can still be this lifetime as well. So, you know, and it's that energy of, you know, asking, when you get this card, you're asking to connect to your angels and any guides to direct you to the energy of the Akashic records. You know, if you feel that you are stuck or unsure, asking the records to reveal to you any essential soul lessons or information so that you can fulfill your purpose during this lifetime. So I look at all of the information that we have to us, like physically, you know, through whatever sources that you get your as well as don't. This is like the AI or the Google or the books of the, spiritual realms, so using that and really not letting that go. I appreciate you being here as well and your likes. But yes, it's that energy of, you know, asking for something to be revealed to you and knowing that you can use that to fulfill your destiny, fulfill your purpose, and your message with this card is when you draw this is the universe is releasing you from any past experiences in this lifetime or others. And these can be soul-based memories, fears from previous lifetimes, or older aspects of this lifetime that you have just moved on from. I said that, and just knowing that this is the time to reclaim your freedom. Just rewrite your own history and rewrite your story. You can also do this by following through on your dreams. So when messages and things come to you in your dreams, follow through and, let go of those days of, the fear-based indecision or fear of making decisions out of fear, and this is your time to rise up and just claim your truth. If you're just sitting on any dreams or you feel like called to move in a particular direction, right now it's being revealed to you in all of these important lessons, and it's saying that, it's essential for you to follow through on any call that you feel, and release whatever is unwanted energies of your past. And when you do so, don't allow yourself to be pulled into expecting the worst possible outcome. Know that this, expectation is not a truth of what you're actually going through. If you've ever, thought about a situation and then you immediately kind of ran to that, what if this happens and what if that, just allow yourself the freedom from all of that, and, call on, like I said, that spiritual side of yourself to release you from being held up, right? So let's do your tarot card. I'm gonna do one shuffle. Dang, your card pops out fast, very fast. But yeah, you have the star card. I look at this as like the guiding star, the guiding light to get you to where you wish to be. And the star card is really about your inspiration, your faith, that guiding light. And it says hope is the light that guides us through the darkness, right? So whatever it is, whatever is inspiring you, even in difficult times, like that's also what you can take from your life, take from your lessons, things of that nature, and just, allowing yourself that freedom, allowing yourself that space. And like, I think I heard like Vicky Dillard say this, faith is a substance, right? Faith is a substance. Faith is a substance. It's a real substance, not just, it doesn't mean that you can put your hands on it and all of that, but it is a real substance. It is a ethereal substance. So use that and build that up more. The more that you think about that and think about faith and think about your future, and gain these two cards are like symbolizing that freedom. The more knowledge you gain, the more freedom you can gain as well. So let's get my card for the Aquariuses. So I like to shuffle this deck 3 times and this one time. So for the Aquariuses, what we have is the ancestral realm. This is for Aquariuses. So let me try to put this on this side, kind of like zigzagging just a little. Okay, so this one here is ancestral realm, and it's about karmic release, healing the lineage and boundaries. In every incarnation we have been blessed to be a part of a lineage to help us live our life and embark on learning experiences, right? And for hundreds and even thousands of years, those who have walked on the earth before us have prayed for a better life, and our lives are the answer to that prayer. The fact that we have refrigeration and all of the things that make our modern lives better. That's a sort of thing that they prayed for, and none of our ancestors had it really perfect. After all, they're human. They make the mistakes. They had poor choices. They had bad views, and many of their intentions were honorable at the time. Some of them were not as well. So all of this is held within your lineage, though, right? And as many other beliefs and ideas and limitations that can be outdated, and all of these fear-based beliefs and things like that are coded in your DNA. That's what it means, like, to have DNA, right? And it's a very real reason why you can look like people you've never met or act like them. Like maybe a certain ancestor was never in your life, but people will say you look like them or you act like them, or, because they know them better, but it's still a real thing for you, right? And it can be a real limitation if you let it, I guess, hold you hostage, whatever. But your message, the way to connect with this is, not living it from a place of fear, not, being afraid of turning out like your ancestors, but really asking for their alchemized lessons. And some of them were not able to fully see the realization of, what they were going through and why they were going through it when they were here. And, maybe on that other side, in that different realm, they're able to understand why a bit more and, get the lesson behind it and, send that to you. So when this card is coming to your life, it's an answer to the great ancestral call. They're looking, all of them. I like to think of, just ancestors as these people who weren't able to, fully live out their desires and their dreams. So now, they wish to do the highest and the best through you, more of pushing you to be your best and to go for it and, just to give your all, right? So always, this card is telling you to, like, place your hands on your heart and say out loud or just internally, great ancestors, earthly lineage, soul lineage, thank you for bringing to my awareness the karmic blockages that are preventing me from reaching my greatest potential. Because, like I said, these things can be coded within you, and you don't actually know that as well. So, this card initiates healing on all levels, but particularly on the family side. There may be some, ideas, beliefs, and all of that in your family that are just limiting, or they can be negative as well. And just understand that it is your job to know your truth. You have the opportunity to go beyond the challenging energies of whatever your family has going on actively right now or had going on in the past. And if you are in a particularly challenging time or facing harsh energies in your family, or even, you feel overwhelmed by the energy of your ancestors, alive and, on the other side, right now is the time to hold a sacred and safe space so that you can rest. And, your ancestors are surrounding you now, and they're here to, like I said, when they try to move through you, it's like that higher energy, understanding that what they didn't get right in their lifetime, they're trying to get right through you now. So they're, the way that they can seek forgiveness through you is to, help you and push you towards better, and to, guide you away from the limitations and the mistakes that they may have made unknowingly at the time, right? And it says, a part of this is like, the ointment for the wound is the energy of forgiveness. And this isn't about, like, accepting whatever they did that was wrong as okay or fine. It's just realizing that the energies of the past no longer govern your present. And it's about choosing to create your own happiness and live from your own heart. So keeping your boundaries strong and carve out any path that you wish. Let's get your tarot card. Okay. The Page of Cups. Page of Cups. So the question here is, will new opportunities arrive? This question was, what inspires hope in you even in difficult times? I feel like all of these questions is good questions, even if it's not your reading necessarily. But it says new beginnings, creative inspiration, intuition, artistic expression, how you express yourself, how you go about things. All of these things can help you live the truth of your manifestation and the truth of yourself, and not worrying about, like I said, you are your ancestors wildest dream, right? But that doesn't mean that you don't get to create and be inspired and use your intuition and do everything and as you wish to express yourself. Just because you are carrying on a lineage doesn't mean that you have to walk down the same path as there are so many paths in your family and in your lineage, right? But you do have that ability to say, like, okay, I am taking on some of the best qualities of my ancestors and my most creative ancestors, and all of these new opportunities and new beginnings can come through to me in the way that I wish, in the way that I desire, and that's best for me and most inspired for me, right? So like I said, you don't have to take on everything that they had to in the past, and use that as your guiding light to get you to where you want to go and to walk around their missteps. You don't have to walk in every footpath of your ancestors, right? So, no beginnings. That reading was for Aquariuses. Okay, let's move on to Pisces. I love to hear the shuffle of the cards. One more. So, Pisces. Pisces, you have Anunnaki light codes. I'll put this on this side now. Can you see that? I'm sure you can. Anunnaki light codes is an energetic shift, new information, and end of a cycle. Well, I feel like this is, first of all of these are like A cards from the deck, but also it's like a combined reading because I'm obviously combining it, but the end of a cycle and new information that kind of goes into what I was just saying about the Akashic records. Like, you go there to get new information and old information that can just energetically shift you. And then the ancestral realm is like the end of a cycle, saying like you don't have to walk in the same footsteps of your ancestors, and you get to do what feels best and right for you. So it says the Anunnaki, if you don't know, they are like a race of cosmic light beings who have been coming to earth since ancient times, and the Sumerians and Babylonians, and even acknowledge them as the deities who govern the space between the worlds. So the divine leader of this incredible race is the goddess Ishtar, a powerful figure similar to the Egyptian goddess Isis. And the Anunnaki have taken many forms throughout the ages. They have an angelic warrior-like quality and have appeared with wings, sometimes up to 4, and like 4 wings, right? And with an elongated face, and similar to that of like an eagle, right? What you can see on the card. And it's like when they appear, it is important. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for saying hello. I appreciate you. when they appear, it is important to know that they are heavenly allies supporting you. And it's important to know that, you know, they're supporting your healing, your own divine healing and ascension. And in the distant past, they did, visit different civilizations and all of that. So they could help, leave, help you and help, anyone else who's looking to ascend, leave that wheel of karma. They acted as divine judges, which you can also see in the Egyptian of the like the goddess. I think that's still Isis as well. Like when she has like those two feathers, it's like that goddess who is, you know, balancing, your heart, balancing the light and darkness, all of that as well. So to connect with this one, it's like saying Anunnaki, Anunnaki, Anunnaki. I welcome in the presence of the Anunnaki people. Thank you, angelic cosmic beings, for immersing my energy in my energy body in your light codes, which is something, like I said, this is, if over all these decades that this has been documented, that they have, been energetic healers and helpers, just inviting that into your life just means that, your message with this is that great change is coming to you. And this can only occur if you are willing to shift your perception. You may be experiencing resistance to change, but you have to know that this is just the fear of the new and not your actual intuition. So if you are wondering what is the best course of action, the Anunnaki are encouraging you to go with the new. Old systems, old ways of being, old ways of doing, and all of that has to be released if you want to evolve to your highest self, right? And a change can bring like you feeling vulnerable. You don't know exactly where you are and all of that, but this will allow you to make deeper connections to your feelings, your gifts, and what is important to you. And you are standing at a gateway of pure potential that will be ignited as soon as you move through this necessary change. So always be open to new information, new processes, new ideas, and understand that you are a part of the new energy that's coming upon the earth. So this is also, like I said, it's an energetic shift. It takes you from wherever you were, whatever cycle you were within, and it's allowing you to escape like any old karma and not holding yourself hostage into, whatever was in the past. So let's get your tarot card for Pisces. Oh, wow, this flips immediately. So you have the Two of Wands. Two of Wands is about planning, decision making, partnerships, and progress. So I'm hearing also, just partnering with different, not just finding people on the earth that you can partner with, which is a fine thing as well, but also, partnering with, whether it be for Aquarius is your ancestors, or, any light beings that can bring you higher knowledge and really just a different way of a different perspective, not being so close-minded about, what works and what doesn't work, and, it can only work this way, and being very stringent with your rules of what actually can help you. And this card says the world is yours to conquer, but first you must decide which path to take. So are you going to take on that path of being open and being free to like move and things like that? Look at the symbolism of the card. Are you going to be open and movable and changeable like this wand is able to move, or are you going to be like a more stagnant? Like you can see this wand over here is chained like to that wall right there. So how much movement do you get if you hold yourself down and lock yourself down into standards that maybe your ancestors have for you or your family have for you right now, or other people who say that this is the quote unquote right way to do something, right? And the question here is, how can you make a decision that aligns with your long-term goals? So if your ultimate goal is freedom and your ability to make your own decisions, and not being trapped in the same cycles that you see people repeating all around you, if that's your ultimate goal, then you wouldn't want to trap yourself in something stringent, or you would want to plan your life and go on the way that allows you to be free and to be who you are, not, being held to other people's standards. It's really not your responsibility to hold on to other people's standards, right? You only have the, it's your responsibility to do the things that you desire, and that is your only responsibility. Not to say that you don't have, things where it says partnerships, not to say that you don't have things where are progressing with another person and you're wanting to, live up to some sort of standard for another person, but your ultimate goal is to remember what is best for you, what information, what end of a cycle, and not going back and doubling back into old cycles to please other people, So once you're done with something, let it be done. This was the reading for my Capricorns. This was for my Aquariuses, and this for my Pisces. Appreciate you, everyone who came in here, who said hello, who liked the video. Let me know what you want to see next. I will be doing a lot more readings. That is a promise. I know I say that like every reading, but that is a promise. I am committed. I'm very committed. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time.